Hey guys, Alex here from alexfergus.com, and yes, this is November's red light therapy news and update. So in this month, we've got a new updated panel from Platinum LED. We've got a laser helmet hitting the market from Hygge Health. We've got some interesting articles on the differences between far infrared and near infrared. That's a question I actually get quite a lot. We've got an article on red light therapy for blood clots, brain health, all sorts of stuff. So you know how it works. Sit back, I'll cover new products, new articles, new science, new questions, and of course new content. I'll put all the links to everything I talk about below. I'll just scratch the surface of some of the more in-depth blogs and science papers, because otherwise we'll be here for hours. So if there's something that interests you, be sure to find the link below and go off and check it out yourself. Let's go. Okay, so first things first, new products. Now, Platinum LED Biomax panels have been updated. I think it's official, though at the time of filming, when I go over to the Platinum LED website, it doesn't show the update. It shows some of the new features, but not the biggest feature. Now, I am speaking to Platinum LED in less than 24 hours time. I've got a call with them to find out for sure, hey, what's going on here? You know, what's the situation? Why has this happened? And all that sort of stuff. So I'll do a follow-up video once I've finished that call, and then publish that with all the details that you guys I'm sure are wanting to know. Well, what you need to know now is that the new Biomax panels, so the 900, the 300, the 600, now contain blue LEDs in them. It's very interesting because, yeah, this is a red light therapy space. They're a red light therapy company. Now they're offering panels with blue light. Now, we have seen companies providing or selling panels with different colors in them, blues and greens. A lot of times you could choose that as an option, but we haven't seen a big player incorporate it yet. This is what I need to find out. It doesn't look like you can choose between it. It just looks like that you order a panel from them and it comes with the blue light LEDs. Now, again, the details are scarce, and that's why if you go over to the website at the moment, you don't see that much about it. So I'm not too sure what's going on, but I know that has happened. They've also updated their panels, so you now get a remote control with it, and you can also buy their professional touchscreen wireless remote control, which is effectively their touchscreen control panel in their panel, in a handheld remote now. At first I thought, what's the point of that? But after recently I've been testing their new motorized stand, and I can tell you now, like, that remote control would be so useful because you can lie under it and do everything from your lying position, right? So yeah, lots of change there on the Platinum LED Biomax range. Very interesting. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Like, is this a good change, bad change? I mean, it's hard to say until we get more details, right? It looks like everything else price-wise stays the same. I have heard though that they're not including their adjustable pulleys in the new panels either. Instead, you get a chain, so you can just adjust the height using the chain. It doesn't personally impact me because I never use those pulley systems, but I had to read a comment the other day saying that, well, they really wanted it. Another product news, Hygge Health now offer a laser helmet. So it contains 30 LEDs and 26 lasers. So very, very interesting. The wavelengths range between 640 and 660 nanometers. It's quite interesting to see a helmet with consumer grade lasers in it. We know the research is solid on lasers. That's what started, most of the research has been done on lasers, not LEDs. But typically the price point has been so high, which is why we haven't seen it in consumer, at least lower price consumer products. So this particular helmet has a preset protocol of 25 minutes and is aimed at preventing and reversing hair loss. I'll put a link to it below. I believe discount code Alex will work on this. Try it. If it works, great. If not, I'm sorry. It's really interesting they've got the lasers in there, and I'd love to know why they've put lasers and LEDs and not one or the other. Like, what was the rationale there? I'm just looking at the tech specs here. Laser wavelength is 650 to 660, and the LED wavelength is 640 to 660. What's interesting here is we're seeing a range. This is something I've often talked about. Like, I don't know why companies haven't used ranges for their wavelengths before, because you typically don't see just one wavelength. You see a range when I'm testing them. But hey, check that out. It is for $500, so it is bit pricey, but hey man, it's lasers, right? There's lasers in it. How cool is that? Finally, in this product section, we have LightPath LED. I don't believe I've talked about this before. They now offer a floor stand or a floor boot. It costs 160 bucks. This is similar to what we've seen with the Juve floor boot, and a few companies now offer a floor boot like this. So yeah, you can check that out and pick one up if you have a LightPath LED panel. All right, now we move over to the new articles and new blog section. So Platinum LED have recently published a very extensive article on red light therapy for blood clots, of all things. Yeah, it talks about how a little bit about blood clots, how they form, why circulation is important, how to prevent blood clots, and then of course how red light therapy can help, and a bit of the research and science behind the mechanisms of action. So, you know, Platinum LED are actually starting to put out some really good, well, they've always had some good blogs. They just haven't had, I guess, that much attention has been given to some of the articles. But yeah, recently, you know, they've done really well. I mean, they're presenting them really nicely, some good graphics and whatnot in there, and it's backed by a ton of science. It's not just, you know, this is what I think and hey, it's awesome, you know, bro science sort of stuff. So yeah, check that link out. I'll put it below. What else do we have? Gembared, I did it again. Gembared have published a bunch of great articles. So the first one I have here is far infrared therapy versus near infrared therapy, and also red light therapy. So when I talk about infrared in a red light panel, it's typically around 800, 900 nanometers. It's just into the invisible spectrum. So, you know, you can see your 700 nanometer light, and as you go a little bit bigger, then it's out of what our eyes can see. So that's what's typically seen in red light panels, therapeutic red light panels, and it is a therapeutic light. It's not there to heat you like some people think. It's there to have therapeutic benefits on the body. Compare that to, say, far infrared, which is what we see in a far infrared sauna, and that is a lot different. It's a lot larger, the wavelength. What are we looking at here? Like 3,000 nanometers to 1,000,000 nanometers. It's quite a broad range. Remember, when we're looking at near infrared, we're looking at 1 or 2, you know, maybe 10 nanometer difference, an 840 versus an 850 type thing. So far infrared it's huge range, and it's a lot bigger wavelengths than what we're seeing in the panels. You then have near infrared and mid infrared, and I won't get into that here. The Gembared article does a good job of breaking it all down, the different benefits of the light, how they're different, how to use them differently. It's a really good article. All of Andrew's articles over at gembared.com are really good. Like, you can spend, if you're new to red light therapy, you can spend a lot of time over on his blog, and I know I have myself. He's also got two other articles. One is just a measurement article using a budget solar meter and how accurate it is. And the second one, and I like this as well, it is a breakdown of all of his products and how they're different, because he actually does have quite a diverse product range, and there's a lot of similarities between some of his products, like similar size, just a few little differences, and the names don't really correlate with what the product does. So he's done a good job of breaking it all down over there. So go check that out. I'll put the discount to Gembared as well below. So if you are going to buy anything over there, be sure to use that. Scott from LightPath LED has done a podcast interview on a channel called Freddy Set Go, I believe it is. Just a 15-16 minute video going through the basics of red light therapy. It's a good little intro video if you're new to this stuff, so I'll put a link to that below. Now, Rogue have put out a really in-depth article on how red light therapy improves collagen production, and this is something that a lot of people, especially women, are attracted to red light therapy. So yeah, if that's something you're interested in, or you're still sitting on the sidelines with red light therapy, go check that article out. And Vilight have a new blog on brain health and red light therapy. It's very in-depth, very interesting. It covers topics like stress, cognitive enhancement, but also disease prevention such as dementia. So Vilight make the headsets more medical, well, not, I mean, anyone can go out and buy them, but yeah, it's more around brain health. And they've recently come out with their new Neuro Duo 3. Going a bit of a, you need the product just to be able to pronounce the product name. And then Neuro Pro, quite expensive products, you know, $2,500 to $5,000. So if you're big into the brain health side of things, yeah, check out those products as well. I did touch on that a few months ago when they announced those products. All right, so this month's Science article is titled Modulation of the Autonomic Nervous System by one session of spinal low-level laser therapy in patients with chronic colonic motility dysfunction. I hope I said that right. Anyway, don't let the title throw you off. Pretty much what they're doing is they're testing people who have incontinence or, the inability to control bowel movements and whatnot, the poor people. And looking at how one session of red light therapy with LEDs and lasers, I think they use both, whether it have an impact on them. If you're thinking, hey, that doesn't apply to me, like, well, this is such a, out there sort of article, just wait, because what they actually looked at is they tested the patient's HRV levels, which are your stress levels. I've been tracking my HRV for, I don't know, a long time. Well, 7 years, maybe longer. The Oura Ring tracks your HRV. It's useful to see how well you're recovering from training and stress load and whatnot. So HRV kind of looks at two states, your parasympathetic state and your sympathetic state. One is your rest and digest sort of relaxation state. The other is more of your, on your toes, fight and flight sort of response. And that's just, yeah, I'm probably oversimplifying it. Some people think one is good and one is bad. You can probably guess which one is which, but it's not necessarily the case. Like, both are good in the right situation, but balance is important, and being able to stress yourself and then recover from that stress is important. So anyway, they looked at this after using a protocol with, and now this is quite interesting, the wavelengths were 660 nanometers, which is what you see in every red light therapy panel available on the market, and 840, which is pretty close to the 850 nanometers that we're using. And they also used a laser light with 825 nanometers, which is not really a wavelength we see much of. Actually, Teller light, we do see your 830, so there's probably a bit of 825 in those. So they were using these wavelengths for about 10 minutes. So pretty much in a nutshell, they were using like a Biomax 900 or a Mito Pro or an Infrared Flex, like pretty standard sort of wavelengths here. There's nothing really out there, which is cool. They used it as a one-off session, and they tracked the HRV parasympathetic, sympathetic states before and after, and in turn we're seeing how that would help with these issues that these people were suffering from. Now, the lights and lasers were applied to the lower back and certain positions on the spine, and yeah, were used for 10 to 20 minutes. All the details are in the research study. I won't bore you with them all here, but you can go out and check that out if you want. The result? Well, the research is right, and I quote, "The comparison of actual versus sham neuromodulation proved that the change in HRV parameters was due to actual light stimulation and not due to the arrays and probe touching the skin." So they used a control setup, the shams setup, to trick people into thinking they were getting the light therapy. So this is interesting, and it shows that yes, the light was creating a change in HRV parameters. And this is why I wanted to include this study in this month's article, because the title is a little bit misleading, at least for us, because it shows that red light therapy does have a whole body, a systemic impact on the body. So let me go into the actual changes they noticed. So the researchers say in the article they wanted to see if a single session of red light therapy would impact the autonomic nervous system as measured through HRV. And they found that yes, the changes were quite significant. So even if you're not affected by digestive issues, shining red light therapy on your lower back can have overall benefits in terms of your stress and relaxation. It also explains why some people feel, I don't know, chilled, like they just feel good after a red light therapy session. A lot of people thought, hey, it's just the heat, but we know that's not the case. Like, there is something going on. You do 5-10 minutes and you walk away just a little bit calmer. But it's not like a meditative, relaxed, like, oh, I'm ready for bed sort of calm. It's just, I don't know. It's hard to explain. But hey, look, something's going on with the HRV here, so something's going on with the body. All good stuff. As for the researchers looking at red light therapy and the effects of digestive disorders, They said that more research is needed, but it is promising. And they conclude with this interesting statement. Stimulation with low-level laser therapy, red light, may stimulate neurons to fire action potentials with, as a consequence, the strengthening of the functionality of the synapses, while also stimulating increased energy production and nutrient delivery through cellular activation and vasodilation. So that's quite interesting, again, showing that red light therapy is doing something to the whole body. Remember, they were just shining this light on the lower back, on the spine, and they were seeing quite pronounced changes throughout the whole body. So, I mean, there's so much we know about red light therapy, but there's so much we still don't know, and the researchers are still trying to figure out exactly how this is all happening and working, and how we can best utilize it. And it should also be remembered that, look, they're just using small lasers on particular points on the body, not full body panels as such. So, it's just important, I guess, to keep that in the back of your mind if you're aware of where to shine the lights. Like, maybe we don't need the full panels. I don't know. It's something I think we'll be years away from truly being able to unpack. So finally, we'll just touch on videos and updates that I have coming down the pipeline. So I should mention where I am right now in this little filming space. It is a mess. I can count maybe 12 or 13 boxes of panels and stands lying around me. I've been doing lots of testing. I've just been testing the Platinum LED motorized horizontal stand, which is pretty neat. Though it took me a long time to assemble that. There'll be a video coming out on that. I've got heaps of tabletop videos, the Mito Pro 300, the Biomax 300 tabletop stand that is sitting just out of reach, otherwise I'll show it to you. Pretty cool. The stand on that was rather neat as well. It's a quite nice setup. The Juve Mini, I think it's called, has just arrived like 2 days ago, sitting down in the box right down there. I haven't even opened that up, so I will be reviewing that. And then I've got one more tabletop panel to come. It's from a new company actually, so it looks pretty promising. So I'm excited to review that. Once I have that one, I'm going to get into my comparisons. I've decided I'm not going to do a comparison as like I did with the body panel, where I go through and score them on heaps of metrics and come out with the best. And I won't get into too many reasons. I'll save that for the actual comparison series. Instead, what I'm going to do is pick a bunch of topics, such as the best tabletop panel for skin health or beauty, the best tabletop panel for travel, because I know a lot of people are attracted to those smaller ones so they can chuck it in their suitcase when they're traveling. The best one for low budget, and something like the best one for performance, overall performance. Because there's such a difference in the tabletop range. You can get your 60 LEDs, real small ones, right up to 130 LED ones. And it's like, how do you equally compare them all to find the best overall? Because it's going to depend on one's goal. So I'm just going to do a bunch of videos on each of those topics. I've got something like 10, maybe more tabletop panels now. So of course, in those videos, I'll compare the power and all that jazz like I usually do, but it will just be done with a different objective in mind. If there's something else you'd like me to cover, the best tabletop panel for, I don't know, I can't think of anything right now, but if there's something else you can think of, leave it below, because I'll probably do a whole week of filming those. So yeah, if there's something you want me to cover, yeah, let me know now. So that will be coming up. I wanted to get it out before the end of the year, but realistically, we're already into November now. By the time I film it all, edit it all, get it all, and I've got so much content already filmed, and I don't want to be releasing it right next to Christmas, so it might not be until next year, so I do apologize with that. But hey, it will be out in the coming months, so that's cool. What else we got? We've got a bunch of videos up on the YouTube channel, how I use red light therapy. That's quite popular at the moment. I've got my Infrared Flex Max 2022 review up now. That's doing really, really good, and there's like 30, 40 comments on there already, which is crazy. I've got the Infrared Flex Mini video coming out soon. I'm going to do some comparison videos between the Infrared, and of course, I'll have some more information on the Platinum panels. When I have that information, I'll do some videos and testing and share it all with you guys here. So, hey, look, I'm going to wrap this up. Hope you've enjoyed this. Questions, comments, feedback, leave it below. Be sure to hit subscribe. Tons of videos coming out, as I mentioned. I will do a December red light therapy news video, but I'll take January off. It's summertime here in New Zealand, and I'm just going to have a couple weeks off just to be honest, do some gardening and some farm work and some things around the house, but also have some time off from filming. So I won't see you in January. I'll be back in February, but I'll see you next month. All right, guys, bye.